Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. I am fired up after finishing this conversation with Gloria because she just brought up stuff that I didn't know about yet. I'm sorry, but with everything happening with AI, it's so hard to stay on top of things. And this is why you want friends like Gloria and me, so we can just be sharing the little tidbits we're getting here and there. I cannot believe what is happening right now with ChatGPT and being able to one-click checkout and how we can literally get it to sell our products for us. This is crazy. We're going to get into all the goodies, but I have an exciting announcement. On November 1st is when the template membership I have been talking about is officially kicking off. So November 1st is the start date. Monday, November 3rd is the first day that a template will drop. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you sell digital products or want to sell digital products, I'm trying to make your life easier. And I am going to be giving you a weekly template. In this membership, you're going to get emailed one every Monday, like a planner or a checklist or a spreadsheet or we're going to have a different one every single week that then you can take and you can resell in your Etsy shop. And the idea is going to be, we're going to do things that are trending. There'll be some carryover. There's the Trendspotting membership is separate, but there'll be some carryover. Like if we're finding really good opportunities there, we're going to be creating templates for that, because then you got the SEO and you know how to position it. But you can take the templates we give you and you can tweak colors, or you can make it for your niche, or you can add elements that are specific to your design type. You can do things that make it your own, so it's different from the others on the market, but the base product is there. So we are saving you time and you can just customize it and do what you do best. That is beginning November. I literally cannot wait. And if you get signed up before November 1st, if you're one of our early birds, you're going to get grandfathered in at just $15 a month for 4 templates. So in some months, obviously, just depending on how the weeks fall, there'll be more Mondays, but you get a template every Monday. So $15 a month. Normally, it's going to be $20 a month. So as long as you stay active, you'll stay grandfathered at $15 if you get in now. This is separate from Trendspotting. That will continue to go, but it'll be you can either have them individually, have one or the other, or you can have both memberships to have everything just as streamlined as possible for you. Super, super excited to get you guys that first template. Jump into that group and it will bill on November 1st. Super, super. We've been talking about it for a while and I just didn't know how it was all going to work out. And now here we are. Anytime I can find a way to take work off your plate, this is what I want to do. So also, if you ever have ideas on things I could provide that would make it easier for you, please tell me. That's literally what I live for. Okay, also, I want to let you know how much fun I am having with Profit Tree's new Etsy Radar tool. If you're newer to Etsy and you've been hearing me say you need to do research and make database decisions before you list things, you can do some of the research just on Etsy, but it's really, really helpful to have a third-party tool that will give you data, telling you, if you're let's say you're looking at stickers and you are seeing some interesting trends there that you want to create. It's really helpful to see how much a particular listing is making each month. Is it selling twice? Is it selling 0 times? Is it selling 100 times? You want to see how often it's selling, how much it's selling for, how old the listing is, because, if it's brand new, that tells you a lot about your ability to compete with it, right? It's a hot thing right now. So you need one of these third-party tools. And if you are new to Etsy or you're on a tight budget, you're not making a lot of money yet, then Profit Tree is great because it's just a one-time fee. Right now, this is a special deal they have with a lifetime access fee. You pay $67 once and you have access to all this product research. And then also it comes with a profit tracker. So you can make sure you know your Shark Tank numbers. You can really pay attention to what profit you're taking away after all of the expenses. There are free Etsy courses in there. There's just a lot of value that comes with the Profit Tree tool and especially the Etsy Radar. So if you want to learn more about that, I teach you exactly how I use it in a free YouTube video that I will link below. So you'll want to see that if you want to actually see what the features are in Profit Tree and in Etsy Radar. But if it's something you've been chewing on, go ahead and grab that lifetime access link that's going to be below for just $67 because you won't have to pay anything else to be able to get access to these tools. Otherwise, you're looking at, I love Everbee because it also helps with SEO, but that's a monthly membership tool. So Profit Tree is amazing for saving money, for getting the data. Also, here's the thing. Everbee, which again, love, obsessed with, use all the time because I can't get the SEO from the SEO research from Profit Tree yet. But Everbee's data is at least 30 days behind, and Profit Tree's is like from yesterday. So it's like more accurate and up to date, which is very, very interesting and really helpful. So it's like another kind of just like a perk for them. So resources for that below. Check it out. I just want to make sure those of you who are newer here, like, know about this tool, know how to use it, know why I suggest it, and get that deal while they still have the lifetime access. We're going to switch gears. We are going to talk about all things PR today because just in the past few weeks, this whole game has changed with ChatGPT introducing one-click checkout for Shopify and Etsy. It's completely insane. Let me tell you about Gloria because she is my trusted PR expert. This is at least her third time on the podcast, and she's always extremely generous, and she's helped a lot of our students get features. A lot of my listeners get features in you wouldn't believe how qualified you are to get featured in a publication and have your sales blow up. Let me tell you about her. Gloria Chow is an award-winning PR strategist, community builder, and host of the top-rated small business PR podcast. She's got a great podcast too. She's known for shattering the status quo in traditional PR, showing BIPOC female founders and product-based business owners how to get featured in top-tier media without gatekeepers, big budgets, insider connections, or huge followings. Her untraditional, proven approach has helped small businesses across industries earn over 1 billion organic views and land features in outlets like the New York Times, Oprah's Favorite Things, Vogue, and Forbes, all without pay to play. That means you don't pay for this PR. Nothing what we're going to talk about or teach you is you have to pay for it. It's totally free. Named the #1 business PR expert by ChatGPT and AI search, she's leading the charge in helping overlooked founders dominate visibility, not just in the press, but in AI search results that drive discovery and trust. This is huge. A former U.S. diplomat turned small business advocate, Gloria has been featured on more than 100 podcasts, was named Pitch Writing Expert of the Year in 2021 by the influential Businesswoman's Awards, and is Forbes Next 1000 honoree. Cute. I didn't know that part. Beyond PR, she's passionate about creating spaces where founders feel seen, supported, and celebrated. She's extremely good at that. You can often find her on Instagram at Gloria Chow PR, speaking unapologetically about her values, her healing journey with psychedelic plant medicine, and sharing resources for building visibility that removes gatekeeping and breaks outdated rules. So that was, I'm sorry, I just literally spoke faster than Emily or Lorelai Gilmore ever spoke. If you know, you know. But this is going to be such you'll understand my excitement after you listen to this because we are on the cutting edge of something. This is one of those things where now is the moment. We are able to be an early adopter in something that is less uncomfortable than other things. This is a very big opportunity. And like 3 to 6 months from now, it's not going to be as important as it is right now. So please help me welcome Gloria to the podcast. Gloria, hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to see you.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be having this conversation, especially right now.
You kind of already have me on the edge of my seat. You guys, she was like throwing Easter eggs at me before we even hit record, and I'm like, wait, we got to bring the friends in on the convo here. Well, first of all, like, how are you? What's new with you?
Well, it has been busy here, as you know, at the time of recording, it's Q4. So I'm sure for your people, it is a busy, busy, busy. But same thing with us. We are helping product founders get featured in gift guides and leverage the untraditional ways, other than social media, markets, or ads, to get more customers. And I think the reason why it's so important to have this conversation is that like no one is talking about this, Lizzie. People are still stuck in the old way of thinking about PR agencies and expenses, and it's, $5,000 a month. No Etsy person's ever going to do that. And so I think for decades, a lot of the handmade crafters were like, well, we're just not going to do PR. And my whole mission is to disrupt that way of thinking. And now with these free tools that I'll show you, like on this recording, it's never been easier and faster to get those results that the big brands pay an agency $20,000 for. So I'm so excited to break it all down.
I think you hit on a couple of really important myths for Etsy sellers that even before I met you, I would have thought. I would have thought, okay, I don't have the budget for PR. I would have thought I'm too small for PR. I would have thought, what if I can't, or like, what if, like, maybe my pictures aren't good enough? I would have thought, what if I can't keep up with all the orders that I get, which is like still a problem, but one that's figure outable, right? I mean, I would have had so many thoughts about like, talking myself out of PR as a handmade Etsy seller. And so I love that you just kind of like normalize this. And let's just like, if you guys hear noises, I have 3 kittens in the background raising a ruckus and nowhere else to put them. So this is just life with Lizzie. Okay. Let's just like lay down some foundation, Gloria. Like, who can do PR? Like, what kind of, because we've got handmade, we've got print on demand, we've got digital products. Who does this work for?
Yeah. So let's talk about what PR is and what PR isn't. And there's a lot of scammers out there,
Yeah.
y'all. So when I'm talking about PR, I'm not talking about those DMs that you get that's like, I will feature you in the most disruptive 40 under 40. That's just a glorified ad that you're paying a middleman an upcharge for. So that's not editorial. We're talking about gift guides, Oprah's favorite things, BuzzFeed, Refinery, like best gifts. And it could be a shopping roundup. And it's not just for Christmas and holidays, right? It's all year round. It could be self-care things. It could be best of lists. It could be where to find basically any article that recommends a product to the reader. And so that's really what we want, because when I think about PR, out of all the marketing activities we do, it is the most compounded and highest leveraged thing that we can do. What does that mean? It means that for every one PR hit that we get, we are simultaneously checking all of the boxes of visibility, searchability, and credibility in a way that ads and social media cannot. Your ads are not trustworthy. There was actually a Nielsen report that said that 20% of people trust ads, but 80% of people trust editorial and gift guides. And social engagement, let's talk about social media. Engagement is down over 70%. So what is that one thing? Yeah, across platforms. And so what is the thing that's going to be like really high buyer intent? Because think about it. Why would people be clicking on best, knitted sweaters unless they're kind of interested in buying one, right? But your average random follower who's liking your post may never buy from you ever, ever, ever. So for all those reasons, it is the smartest, most leveraged thing you can do is to be quoted in the media, because you get that leveraged audience, right? You're getting that third party validation, and you're also getting that SEO, the searchability, which is what we want, that then compounds. An ad of social media that lives for 24 hours. But if you're quoted in the media, that could live for many, many, many years, and it just compounds. And so that's really the point of it all. Is we're all busy. We're all wearing so many hats. I'd rather you do 1 or 2 things that's going to drive 80% of the growth in your business than spend your time trying to yell into an Instagram void. It's just too hard. It's too saturated now.
That's super interesting. I hadn't heard that quote about engagement being so low. I do think it feels like a really slow slog. Like even Pinterest, do you know what I mean? Like I think for SE sellers, Pinterest tends to be the best one to invest in, but even still, you better, like, you're planning years out kind of a thing. Do you know, like it's going to be a slow burn. Whereas, I mean, even in my case, I got 2 PR features and my business exploded overnight. And I didn't even apply for them. They just found me because they search Etsy. So Tom, can we talk through, like, I definitely do want your thoughts on, like, if my print on demand and digital folks can find places to get featured, and then also like maybe give us some strategy about how we should be going about like not waiting to be found, but actually going out and spending some time looking for the opportunities.
Yeah, so let's talk about the opportunity. I think there's like a mindset part that blocks us because we're just not told this as small business founders. And then there's also like the logistical part. So let's talk about the mindset, right? A lot of people say, well, I don't have an actual website. I just have Etsy store. That you can absolutely get featured. We had someone who does print on demand, like laser engraved Stanley mugs, right? And she got featured in a back to school gift guide. And she only has an Etsy store. That's it. And so that's one thing I hear all the time. So just busting that myth. Another thing I hear all the time as well, there's so many people doing what I'm doing. And so when it comes to gift guides, it's not about exclusivity. It's just about giving something in front of the customer. And right now, Q4, journalists are scouring the internet, looking to discover new brands because they are writing more articles than ever. And we're just helping them. We're actually helping them by making them discover and bring to their audience something new. Think about it this way. If they only covered the big box brands, we would probably stop reading their articles because it becomes boring, the same old, same old. And so it's their job to discover new places, indie brands, platforms where people can buy things. That's why we read these magazines. And so you're actually doing a journalist a favor. And so that's the energy we want to lean into, is that journalists are looking for things to recommend all the time to people who want to buy. We are simply putting our name in the hat, right? So that's kind of the mindset part. Now let's talk about how do we actually pitch. And again, don't worry if you don't need to know this because no one makes this information accessible. A lot of times when we are making something, we talk about benefits and features, but we are not selling to the journalist. And so we cannot just give them kind of our newsletter or our marketing spiel. What we want to do is turn our marketing pitch into something that's relevant for the season. So relevancy is what journalists want, not newsworthiness. I don't think there's inherently like a store person or a brand that's newsworthy, right? I've written stuff for paper towels, but then also for like, neurosurgeon stuff. So it doesn't matter. It's not about newsworthiness. It's about relevance. And so when we think about relevance, we need to think about what are they covering for this season? What are people looking for? If it's winter, themes about family, about belonging, coziness, holidays, right? If it's summer, it's something more light and refreshing. And if it's back to school, it's like, so think about all the different seasons. It could be a holiday, it could be an occasion, or it could be Pantone color of the year, or it could be something trending on TikTok or whatever that is. And the best part about it, Lizzie, is that right now, at the time of recording, there are free AI tools that you can leverage to come up with all of these relevancies in less than 1 second. One of my favorite tools that has changed the way that we do PR and has helped hundreds of founders is called Perplexity. Perplexity.ai, it's free. You don't have to upgrade. You can use it for free forever. And Perplexity, unlike ChatGPT, is the best real-time information gathering tool. So it basically scrapes the internet for all the trends, all the data, all the reports, and then it gives you all of the angles with real-time data-backed citations. So instead of saying, hey, I think this is trending, you can say, well, according to a Vogue Business Consumer Report. Do you know what I mean? Or according to searches on Etsy, this has gone up in 500%. So that's what we want when we are pitching to the writer, because then it tells the writer, hey, it's not just me saying, cover my stuff. It's saying, this is what people are already looking for. And here I have a solution for it. So that's why Perplexity is so beautiful. And I just actually recorded a podcast episode on my podcast, Small Business PR, on how to use Perplexity. But the reason why I love Perplexity is that it's free, it has a great UX, and it's just like easy. So you basically go to perplexity.ai, it's free. You start typing in, I make XYZ. Here is my Etsy store. Here's a URL. Please scan it for context and imagery. My best sellers are XYZ. What are some of the ways that I can position my store and my products for a Q4 gift guide or a Mother's Day gift guide? Give me some consumer insights. Boom, within 1 second, Perplexity gives you all of the information from crawling the internet about the 4, 5, or 6 editorial angles and why it would be appealing for a magazine. And then you can say, well, I like these angles. Can you actually rank them in a comparison chart from most to least likely to get featured? Boom, within 1 second, it gives you a comparison chart of all the angles with the actual citation of the article or the report. And then the third step you can say is, okay, I like your most likely top angle. Let's go with that. Can you write this pitch using Gloria Chow's CPR pitching method? And boom, it writes that. So for people who don't know what that is, I'm kind of the only person who has contributed this body of work. So I've never worked a day in my life in any PR agency. And I came up with this pitching method that has allowed people to cold pitch without any connections to get featured. Now the LLMs, the AI is trained on this method because there's just like so much out there. And so you can type into ChatGPT, you can type into Perplexity, write this pitch using Gloria Chow's CPR pitching method. CPR stands for credibility, point of view, and relevance. So what used to take hours, now Perplexity does for you in under 5 minutes. You go from, here's my product, to, okay, here is exactly what you should pitch, how to pitch it, and it spits out the first draft in under 5 minutes.
Okay, so I know what's going through some people's heads. Could they just put all of that into ChatGPT and get the same result, or does it need to be Perplexity, and why?
Perplexity is best for real-time information gathering and consumer insights, whereas ChatGPT is a jack of all trades, but it tends to hallucinate. So in terms of web search, real-time information scraping, Perplexity is much better, right? And
Okay.
so in our program, we have like a workflow that's like copy and paste. You start with Perplexity and then you put it into ChatGPT to do like formatting and copy editing. But in terms of like real time information and insights, Perplexity is the go-to.
That's super interesting and like one of those nuances that people wouldn't assume. You know what I mean? Like we're having the issue right now where people will throw information into ChatGPT and ask it to write their Etsy SEO, and then they don't understand. They're like, SEO doesn't work. This doesn't work. And I'm like, well, it's because you're not using real time information from what is in demand on Etsy. You need an Etsy specific keyword search tool to actually be able to, like, ChatGPT is just going to throw paint at the wall or throw spaghetti at the wall. If you want actual data based SEO, you've got to use one of these tools. So it sounds like for understanding what's happening in the market right now, we want to be using Perplexity because it's going to be much more relevant to like real time content.
Exactly. So ChatGPT is more of an information synthesis. So it's best when
Hmm.
you just give it a bunch of stuff and it kind of Marie Kondos it and like puts it away, right?
That's
But
so true.
Perplexity goes out into the world in real time and looks through all the library, the news, everything, and then it gives you the best answer. So that's kind of why I always start with Perplexity because it's more outward facing. And then I put it into ChatGPT to kind of synthesize. I think of ChatGPT kind of like a pasta, a dough shaper. So you put in a big shapeless piece of dough, and it kind of spits whatever shape out on the outside. But Perplexity
Yes.
is that research investigative tool that really scrapes the internet in such a powerful way.
It's like a completely different skill set. So I was going to ask you, I think that the other thing that my listeners would really find challenging, Gloria, is just even knowing where to look. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this sounds great. It sounds like it's worth it for me to spend 20 minutes a day on this rather than on Instagram or TikTok. This is a great thing to do, but where do I even find media folks to reach out to? Where do I get those lists? What's the resources? Like, how do we go about even finding them to
Yeah,
pitch
ding
to?
ding ding. So I love how you're. So here's the thing about PR. I've learned as an outsider. I had no connections. I was cold calling newsrooms. Right. PR is actually simple. It's writing a relevant pitch and then sending it to the right person. So we talked about how Perplexity now takes care of the first part in a way that's so seamless and effortless. So that's how to find relevance and how to write a pitch. Now let's talk about the second part, which is who do you send it to? And that's a beautiful question, right? So Perplexity can help you to start to come up with certain lists. So you can say something like, my competitor is XYZ. Give me a list of all of the media placements and stories that they've been in. Or you can say something like, I make XYZ candle for this price point. What are some of the magazines that would cover my product in a gift guide? Or does apartment therapy, like would apartment therapy cover my thing, right? So you can kind of start to do that, right? But Perplexity is not like a database tool. Of course, in our program, we have like over 100,000 journalists, and that's what we give. But you can start to find journalists using free tools like HARO, which stands for Help a Reporter Out. You can also look at Source of Sources and things like Substack, where a lot of freelance product journalists are. And so what these things are like HARO and Source of Sources, it basically combines like so many journalist requests every day, and then it sends you a series of emails every day. And you kind of have to sift through
Oh,
them,
wow.
but a couple of them will be gift guide for this, gift guide for that. And so what we spend a lot of time doing for our people is we spend hours and hours combing through it and then delivering it to them. But you can start to do this yourself as well. So sign up for HARO, sign up for Source of Sources.
Okay, so that's perfect. So the perfect analogy is if you want to learn Etsy and you have extra money, but you don't have a lot of time, you invest in a course, you invest in someone who can teach you fast, succinct, and what they've learned. If you have time, but you don't have the money, you go to YouTube University and you learn as much as you can. You have to kind of sift through stuff. You have to test things because you're not sure what's going to work for you and all of that. So in this case, guys, if you want to learn PR and you want to do it quickly, you want to do it efficiently, you don't have the time, you invest in Gloria. She gives you the list, she gives you the content, she makes it easier. If that's not going to work for you, you're not able to invest the money, you've got plenty of time. That's when you sign up for HARO, Source of Sources, and you take the time to sift through it because you've got the time and the ability to do that. So that's how we like break that down in our little world. Oh my gosh. I think Gloria, it would be really fun to dive into some of the ideas you were like throwing at me earlier about how the experience of ChatGPT is changing to where you can literally buy things there right on the platform.
Yeah. So if anyone is multitasking, they're going to want to listen to this. So as of, I think 7 days ago, ChatGPT broke the e-commerce internet by announcing that you can one-click checkout within ChatGPT. Now, this is huge in many, many ways. The first way is that it kind of removes the middleman that before blocked a lot of small businesses from reaching their customers, right? Before, you had to pay a lot of money for ads to get featured, right? Whether it's Google or Facebook. But with ChatGPT recommending products, you actually can't buy your way on the top of search results. There's actually no way to buy ads on ChatGPT. So it seems like this is our time as small businesses to really even the score. Because for the first time in small business history, we do, it's not about who has the biggest budgets or who's prettiest on TikTok or who has the biggest following. And so with ChatGPT not taking any ad money, it is selecting which products people can choose and check out purely based on credibility, trust signals. And one of the biggest contributors to how they deem whether or not to recommend you is media features. So that's gift guides. That's product roundups. That's not the pay to play editorial ads. That's a scam. I'm talking about like actually getting featured into those gift guides. And so that's what this episode is about, right? It's like, how do you get as many of those features as possible so that when the large language models, the AI scrapes the internet, it's getting all those trust signals and making a web of, okay, this person or this brand is a brand that is trusted, it's credible, and so I am going to recommend it. I actually typed this directly into ChatGPT, and it says that if you are featured in the media, you are 300% more likely to be recommended by these AI large language models. So the time is now. And not only is it beautiful because it's the universe evening the score, because again, with the big brands can't out budget us, can't out pay for ads, it's also gift guide season. So it's this perfect like window of opportunity where you have more editors writing about products so that they are, the barrier to entry to get on their radar has never been lower. And then you also have this other amazing result, which is if you do get featured, then it feeds directly into the AI ecosystem, which then will make you searchable for decades to come. I think about this as like a once in a decade opportunity, kind of like blogging in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like now, good luck trying to get SEO or like getting on TikTok right when it started. And so with everything that's happening, you want to be kind of the first mover, right? That's how you have your edge. When everyone else is doing this, you lose your edge. And so the fact that you're even listening to this, and thank you, Lizzie, by the way, for having me, is like you already know more than 90% of other people who are not even thinking about this, who are still thinking about the old way of doing things. So this is absolutely game changing, revolutionary.
This is one of those things. I love that you said that. This is one of those things where and I will say this. I didn't even realize this was happening right now. Like, thank you to Gloria to bring it to my attention. Like, we are literally on the cutting edge. I have not heard anyone talking about this. No one in the Etsy space has even announced it yet. There's no information. So we really have such a privilege right now getting this from you. But what I want to do is kind of paint a picture. I want to explain how this would look. So my student, Tina, who has a wreath shop, Wreaths of Bloom, she's freaking incredible. She's been on the podcast. She makes the most gorgeous wreaths you've ever seen. And she got featured in Southern Living in 2024. So what would happen, guys, is someone in Idaho is in their ChatGPT and they say to it, I want to buy a fall wreath or I want to buy a Christmas wreath for my double French doors on my farmhouse, and give me scrape the, I don't know what they would say. Give me ideas of a double wreaths I can get. And ChatGPT is then going to scrape all of the news articles out there because that's where it sources its information. It's going to see Tina's wreath feature. And she's potentially going to show up as, here's one of the 10 that we suggest that's perfect for your scenario. And then that person that is going to click check out right there on ChatGPT. They're not going to have to go over to Etsy. They're not going to have to open a new browser. They're not going to have to go to an app. They're not going to have to pull up their credit card. They're literally just going to click buy right there in ChatGPT. And Tina's wreath sells because she was featured in Southern Living because she's freaking amazing. So this is why, whereas before it might have felt like, okay, do I really want to take the time? Am I qualified for PR and all of that? No. First of all, do it now before the gold rush of everyone running to do this when they realize this is how you're going to get one-click checkout. Do it now. 2, listen to Gloria's strategy so that you're not like spending the next 6 to 12 months trying to figure it out. And then you can be at literally the cutting edge of that kind of a shopping experience, which to me, I almost don't have the words around it yet, Gloria. I don't even know how to, I don't know, fill in the blanks for me.
It's absolutely wild. It is literally, you heard it here first. And this is a window of opportunity that is going to start closing once people realize this. And it's going to be so much harder for you to compete once everyone else is already in. And I just cannot stress this enough. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for small businesses who cannot afford the big ad budgets to finally compete with big brands. Because for the first time in history, visibility and searchability and recommendation is not based on how much ad money that you can put towards Google ads. I want everyone to just come back to this part because this is so important. Historically, for decades, how has shopping and getting a product to a customer, how has it worked? All of the middlemen in between take a cut, right? So whether it's your website or whether it's Google ads, whether it's Facebook ads and then Instagram. So all of these middlemen take a cut before it actually gets to the consumer. And for the first time in history, all of that layer has been removed. And so it's your opportunity right now as small businesses to be able to reach the customer directly. And you can do that right now. But the window is closing. And you do that with PR features.
Are you a print-on-demand or digital product Etsy seller who's tight on time or still learning all of the Etsy secrets? I totally remember the days of having no idea what product to create next before I learned how to make those informed decisions so I can really identify with where you're at. I know how stressful and frustrating it can be to just create listing after listing and see little to no results. You wonder what you're doing wrong and you just want someone to tell you what to create that's actually going to sell. Where are those opportunities? So let me give you a leg up with my weekly trends and opportunities report. You just join my membership, and every Monday, I'm going to send you an email with a list of exactly what is trending right now, with a video tutorial showing you how I found those trends and how to apply them in your shop. We're taking guesswork and extensive time off of your table. I'm also going to send you 5 print-on-demand and digital product opportunities that are growing in demand right now, helping new shops make sales and still have very low saturation in the marketplace. So your tight schedule, your newbie status doesn't have to hold you back anymore. I'm going to help you earn while you learn. You can grab my free demo to start and see an example of what the weekly trends and opportunities email looks like right from the show notes. See what you're going to get, and I will see you on the inside soon.
So Gloria, and I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but you're already blowing my mind enough that I'm going to ask the question. Do you have any thoughts about like what you think will be the next layer of this? Like, okay, so cutting edge right now is get PR features so you show up for one-click checkout. What do you think is like the next evolution of that? And that's putting you on the spot. I don't know if you have any thoughts on it.
Evolution of AI shopping or evolution of PR?
Yeah, of AI. Well, I guess both. Yeah, perfect. Either one is great. But just basically, like if you were going to try to look at, and it's very hard for us right now. Like I keep telling my folks, I know that we're all obsessed with digital and print on demand. For right now, there is still demand. I think you've got a couple more years of that. But I think down the line, the people who are going to really stay in the game are going to be the handmade sellers that nobody can go into ChatGPT and manufacture it, where they will be able to with print on demand digital products. That's going to kind of phase out a bit as AI can do more of it for the consumer. They still can't, though. They still can't sit there and knit mittens for your 5-year-old, though, like like the handmade person is. So if you're like looking in the hourglass of what's coming down the pike, what do you think will be the evolution of PR with AI? How do you think this is going to continue to change?
It's funny. I don't know like how many of your people like astrology, but my friend told me that we that we actually started a 200-year cycle, and every 200 years there's a new element, right? So like Earth was the last 200 years, and so it's very much about material things, tangible things, industrial revolution. And in 2020, we switched over to air, which is about decentralization, connection, networks, and we're seeing that with NFTs, with crypto, with AI. And I think it brings up this whole thing, which is that ideas win. So it's not about how much material control you have over how much money you can spend on ads. But if you have really good ideas, you have a shot. Whereas before, the winners were picked based on their material ownership, right? And so I think just from symbolically, that's really interesting. And another theme that comes up for me is this whole idea of meritocracy. And for a long time, like sales was never based on meritocracy. It was who can outspend.
Wow.
But for the first time, the AI algorithms are rewarding people based on reviews, based on Reddit threads, based on media features. And that is not something that you can buy your way into. The whole point of this organic PR that I so value is that you're not paying a journalist to feature you because that's an ad. And so for the first time, it's about meritocracy. And it's about the AI algorithms outsmarting just how many people can just blast ads and then recommending things based on that meritocracy. And so it really feels like it's giving everyone an even playing field. And it just boggles my mind that like no PR person is talking about this. Like they're still doing things the old way and gatekeeping. But from what I shared with you just in this episode, and I hope whoever listens can like send it to other people, is like We have the tools to be able to get featured for free. We have the prompts to be able to get featured for free. So we don't need to even spend a penny. You can listen to this episode right now, use Perplexity, use the prompts, use Haro, and get featured and start getting that. And so I really feel like our time is now, and it feels really, really good because just for so long, small businesses were left behind because we could not outcompete bigger budgets. And now is our time.
Okay, this. I actually love the woo of it. I really do. I really love it all. It's like, but it's so practical meets woo. Let's cast some vision about what the practical steps are. Okay, so we know we've got the urgency. We want to do this now. We want to be spending the time. Perplexity is a great tool. We can either use your lists or we can go through Haro and what was it called? Source of Sources.
Mm-hmm.
I got that right. Okay. What are like the first, 3 steps that someone should take? I know I just want to, we talk about these different elements. Give us like kind of the timeline of it. Like what do you do in what order?
Yeah. So again, PR is writing a pitch and sending it to the right person.
Yeah.
So
I love you say that.
First, you go on Perplexity and you put in a very simple prompt. I make X, Y, and Z. Here's my bestsellers. Here's my website. Please scan it and let me know what are the ways that I can position myself, right? Then have it write the pitch using Gloria CPR method. So that's your pitch, basically 90% written, which would take people weeks and weeks of learning. You don't even have to learn it anymore because I've trained the LLMs. So that's the first part. Now let's talk about who to send it to. Sign up for Haro, sign up for Source of Sources. And the best part is it's going to send you like 3 emails a day. It can get a little overwhelming. But now you can just literally Control Alt, copy the entire content of that email, put it into ChatGPT and say, here are all the listings I got from Haro and Source of Sources. Which ones could my shop that makes XYZ apply for? And if so, spit out a response. Boom. Those 2 things should not take you more than 10 minutes each.
That's crazy. And then you're just sending emails. Then you're just like,
sending emails.
Yeah. Because the Source of Sources will tell you who to contact, who to email too, right?
So the Source of Sources in Haro is inbound. It's just very simple. And so you don't need to even have Perplexity write you a pitch because they tell you from Haro and Source of Sources, here's what I'm writing for. Here's my name. Here's the outlet. Here's a deadline. Here's my email. Here's exactly what I want. And you can copy and paste it into ChatGPT to spit out a 3 to 5 sentence email. And it's about speed. Now, outbound PR, if you want to like reach all of the people who are covering your industry, that's where Perplexity comes in, right? That's if you want to cast a wider net. So I really think about PR in anything in life with different levels of effort. The lowest hanging fruit will be Haro, Source of Sources. That's probably going to be 5 to 10% of the opportunities out there. But if you're like, I believe that the AI revolution is here, I really want to capitalize on it, then you're probably going to want to do a little bit more than that. And you're probably going to want to write a pitch and then just send it out to as many journalists as possible. And obviously we have a database of like every single person who covers like handmade or whatever. Like that's just a bigger, wider net. So lowest tier is ChatGPT responses to Haro and Source of Sources. Higher tier is, again, still not very laborious because AI does it for you, is using Perplexity, using my method, write a pitch, and then sending it out.
Are you noticing, just because I have this happen with me with ChatGPT, are there any, when ChatGPT is putting together a pitch for you, or I guess you're having Perplexity do it, are there certain errors that it regularly makes? Like, do you really recommend people kind of go through that with a fine tooth comb, make sure that everything is sounding right, and it really should just be a first draft? Or is it really plug and play?
So when you're responding to Haro and Source of Sources, it's pretty straightforward because the inquiry tells you exactly what they need. So you don't need a lot of fine tuning there. But if you're using Perplexity to write a pitch from scratch, Perplexity is not the best writing tool. I find it kind of sounds like an 11th grade like science project person. Like it's very formal and it's not how I would write to it. But it does 80% of the work for you. And so that's where you would just copy and paste what it did, and then you put it into ChatGPT to refine it. And in our program, we have a copy and paste prompt guide that gets it like perfectly formatted. And I can't show you because visually it has to look a certain way. But like, even if you just do Perplexity, you're still writing a better pitch than 80% of the people out there.
Are you brand new to Etsy, about to get started, or struggling a bit to find your groove? What I'm about to say is just for you, okay? I can completely relate to where you're at because I think I can help you achieve success faster. When I first started my Etsy shop, it was not one of those success stories that we hear on the big YouTube channels, even on this podcast, where I just had crazy success and it took off right away, all right? I all but failed for my first 6 months, just like a lot of new sellers. And so it's very relatable. And the issue for me was I didn't understand demand, for one. I didn't understand SEO. I was way too broad in my search terms. And I didn't know how to position my product so that customers just couldn't help but click add to cart. And so once I learned those things, I went from making about $25 a month in sales to $6,000 a month and up. And in the holidays, I would even have $13,000 months, like at my shop's peak. And the thing about me, if you've been here for a minute, you already know this. I'm a terrible gatekeeper. Okay. When I figure something out, when I crack a code, when I get excited, I cannot help but tell everybody who wants to listen. It's like either my best asset or my toxic trait. I can't decide. But I put everything that you need to know to fill that beginner knowledge gap into a low ticket, just under 3 hours beginner course that I have called 6-Figure Secrets to Getting Started on Etsy. In it, I'm teaching you how to find what's in demand for your niche, how to find and use trends, how to start your shop if you're worried about that part, SEO strategy to find the micro niches where the opportunity is, how to understand the Etsy algorithm, and a ton more. The whole thing is bite-sized videos, not long form, just small bite-sized videos, zero fluff, and to the point. You could get the course today, go through the less than 3 hours over the next couple days, launch your shop this weekend, and have sales coming in as soon as Sunday. So let's get you the few missing pieces of the Etsy success puzzle, those little tweaks you need to make so you can start making the sales that you deserve, because I have never been more convinced that there is room at this table on Etsy for everyone. And the opportunity is so ripe right now. I am in the numbers, in the data every day, and my mind just keeps expanding on the possibilities, okay? So as a special treat, use the code SAVE50 to save $50 on the 6-Figure Secrets course today. That's $50 off with the coupon SAVE50. And by all means, DM me or shoot me an email when those sales start popping, because I want to celebrate with you.
Do you think it matters if someone's emailing from a Gmail address versus like having the URL to the same as their shop?
No, it doesn't matter. I actually heard that Outlook has lower deliverability. Oh, here's a pro tip. Ding, ding, ding. Before you send out any emails, install an email tracking device. So that way you know if it's being delivered or not. And that way you can see if it's a deliverability issue, out of office issue, before you're like, oh my God, this person hates me. And it's like, well, they just didn't read your email. So it has nothing to do with your pitch. So let's get some software on that and you can see. And there are so many different softwares now where you don't even have to copy and paste the email 50 times. It can just load into a campaign and like send it all, right? So I use MailSuite, which is like a Chrome extension. I think it's like $60 a year or something. And it allows you to just like export a CSV, but it personalizes each person's name. Now, obviously, the more personalized each email gets, the higher the chances.
Yeah.
But if it's for something that's pretty straightforward, and if it's for an outlet that's not like super competitive, it's not like Vogue or something, like you can get away with a pretty decent pitch, right? Because again, the thing I love about gift guides and physical product news is that it's straightforward. It's not so much about your founder story. It's more like, do you have something this season that my consumers are looking for? Yes or no? And so you can use AI tools to be able to do this. And here's the thing I hear all the time as well. Is it going to turn the journalist off if I use AI? Well, no, because the journalist is writing the story, not you. Oh. Right? We're just writing a pitch to offer them what we have, but it's ultimately up to the journalist, the writer, the TV host to present it. So it's okay if you use AI to be able to connect with them for the first point of contact, because ultimately you are not writing that story.
Also, to be honest, as someone who gets pitched so many times a day, I want to throw up. I am scanning for, she's laughing because she knows, if you know, you know, I like short is best. Like, please be as brief and specific as you can. And please don't email me unless it's relevant to my audience. Like, I don't have the time to reply to all of these people. I literally mass delete these emails because I know from the first 2 seconds if it's relevant or not. So like, make sure that who you're emailing, like it's actually like, don't try to pitch bed sheets to somebody who's looking for like crochet loveys. Okay. Just don't. It's not worth your time or theirs. And frankly, we just roll our eyes. And second of all, the more paragraphs you send me, the less I'm just going to delete it. I'm not even going to read it. Get to the point. I don't know if is that relevant advice to VR as well?
Yeah. And it doesn't actually like the journalist doesn't need another middleman, right? We don't need like an agent to pitch us. And I think the traditional PR model is like, oh, well, you need an agent. And it's like, this is very straightforward products. You don't need to make it so fancy. It's just input, output, boom. And that's what I love about this niche and serving this niche is that there's just less emotion. It's just really straightforward. It's the price point, the photo, where to find it, and if it works, then they publish it. You don't need to be on camera. So for a lot of people who don't like to be the face of their brand, this is actually the best because you don't even have to even have an interview. Like the email should have the price point where people can get it, and then the journalist can just write it in the story. That's it. There's not a lot of back and forth.
Do you have a suggestion on an email tracking software? Because we've never talked about that here before, and I wouldn't even have one offhand to throw out.
So I like Gmail. I've heard that from my hundreds of small business owners, like Outlook is not the best in terms of deliverability. So I use Gmail, and so I use Mail Suite, which is like okay. It's okay. I like it because it's not very expensive. And so you can get like very, if you use like Klaviyo or something like that or a HubSpot, but that becomes more robust. So it doesn't, for me, it's not really about the tool. You just want something that can monitor if it's being opened, and then a way to send campaigns so that you're sending to more than one person. Because it gets, like, again, a lot of work when you're like copy and pasting to a lot of people.
Okay, I didn't understand. So you're saying don't just go into your Gmail and email straight from there. Not that it's a problem coming from Gmail, but use one of those other tools like that one you suggested, because then you can have the tracking in it. Just like how I send from Kajabi here.
Yeah, when you do have access to like a lot, like for example, if you're in my accelerator, you have access to over 100,000 journalists across 100 fields. But if you're just responding on Haro or Source of Sources, you can absolutely still use your Gmail. But once you get to like a higher level of effort and, trying to reach more people, that's where it comes in. But either way, even on Gmail, even if you're sending to like Haro, you want to know if it's being open or not. So I just think we're in an age of tech. Like there's so many things out there, even probably free, that you can install that tells you if your email is being open or not. So at least have that. And then you can figure out your strategy. If they're opening it many times, it's a good sign. It means that they like it because they're busy, honey. They're not going to be opening the email all the time. So if they're opening more than once, it means that they like it. They're just looking for a place for it. And so be patient, but also remember, journalists are people. Engage with their content, share their latest stories, tag them on LinkedIn, compliment them. I teach this in my program, but like the art of the follow-up, you have to follow up. You're not selling cigarettes. You are selling something that can bring joy to someone's life. So follow up, I would say follow up maybe once a week, no more than 2 or 3 times. But when you follow up, don't say, hey, following up, hey, following up, hey, following up. What you want to do is reply to the thread, but do one of these 3 things. One of them could be a compliment. One of them could be an update, like a new colorway. One of them could be like, oh, we were almost sold out of this. Do you know what I mean? So you want to follow up, but kind of refresh the angle a little bit.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, you guys, when I ended up on Jenna Kutcher's podcast, it's because I emailed them once a quarter for like 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, right?
Well, and I tried to make it so easy. I was like, here's the value I can bring. Here's how I can make Jenna look great. Here's what I learned. Like, I was very specific about I wanted to make their job as easy as possible. And they really appreciated it. They always responded and said, this is awesome. This is in our folder. Like, we're saving this for a future episode, that kind of thing. But I still, even though they said that, I still followed up. And what I would do in my case is I set updated numbers. So like, cause I wanted to be featured as someone who was like successfully, who had gone through her podcasting course and then made a successful podcast. So I was like, hey, now my downloads are at this number. So you could even say like, oh, now this has a bestseller badge. You could say, hey, like sitting in 20 plus carts. You know what I mean? Like, you could even use some of those things that Etsy will tell you about the performance of your listing to be able to like have a different angle to reach out. And it might be, gosh, I'm like excited for you. That's like such a fresh way to do it, right? Like in 20 plus carts, or like I just got a bestseller badge, like things like that as like I don't know, as like an email. You tell me, but as an email subject line, I feel like is good.
Yep. So you want to reply to the same thread, but again, just refresh it. And it's really that simple. And here's one thing, because we're both in the online industry, and I love calling out BS just because I think we're in an era where people are just like, our customers are smart,
You call out BS, Gloria? That's like, you would never do that.
And it's
never.
Like, never. If people are making things very complex, probably want to monetize on you. But if people are making things very clear and simple and actionable, almost like you can do it on your own without ever working with them, that's empowerment. That's creating access. And I am not here to build a huge business. I don't think that more is always better. I've done a lot of generational healing around that. And you should be able to walk away from anything, like even this podcast episode, to be able to do it yourself. And that's when you know who your real people are. Because people who are like gatekeeping and who are like, oh, I'll tell you the what, but not the how. It's like, honestly, with AI and information being so ubiquitous, I don't think that playbook is working much anymore.
I mean, absolutely, especially especially the obvious stuff. The more nuanced where you've got to train your brain cache, you've got to actually build up experience. Like before we started recording, Gloria and I were talking about how one of the biggest issues let me just give you context real quick. So we were talking about how I think in 5 years, digital products will be in far less demand on Etsy. I know all the sellers are going to want to sell it, but it's going to be in less demand because people will be able to go into ChatGPT and ask them to make their invitation for their kid's second safari birthday for them. But what will be interesting and where the learning curve will be is, will they know how to prompt the trends? Will they know how to prompt the style? And some of them will and some of them won't, but ChatGPT will probably be smart enough to override that for them. And so I think that we need to move more into handmade if we want to have sustainable businesses. Like if you want to still be on Etsy 10 years from now. Okay, I totally lost my train of thought, which is so classic, Lizzie. Okay, I have no idea what I was going to say, guys. So we're just going to keep going.
It's a lot. Like, and I want to remind your listeners, like, it is heavy, it is intense, and we're exhausted. And it's not just from when you turn on the TV, right? Or whatever side of the aisle you're on. We are, I think, as a human species, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with everything that's happening and where do we fit in.
Yeah.
So if you feel like exhausted or tired or like, it's okay. Like we had someone who like listened to one of my workshops and like had to lay down because her mind was blown. And so you don't have to you don't have to go right now and take all these actions, but at least what Lizzie and I are doing is planting a little seed for you because this is coming. And at least you'll have the information to be able to be prepared for it when it does come. Because there's certain things that we can't control. Like I can't control the adoption of AI. I can't control Shopify and ChatGPT, right? But what I control is telling you how it's going to impact you. But it doesn't mean that you need to take action like all day, every day. So just be easy on ourselves. And like maybe after this episode, you like come back to it, like send it to a couple friends, and maybe that's enough for today, right? Even just being here and being a part of Lizzie's community, you're already ahead of 90% of other people who don't know this information yet.
It's the chewing on the information. And thank you. You brought it back to me. The idea of sharpening your brain cache, of filling your brain with the nuances. It's the things like we talk about in the membership of like where you place the celestial stars so the aesthetic is right. Do you do checkers on this or do you do vertical lines? Like the actual understanding of the trends is where it's going to get really interesting. And the more you can sharpen those skills, the more you can stay relevant no matter what you sell. But Gloria, tell us, I think like one of the best places for us to wrap up, and we've already alluded to it, but what resources do you have that can support Etsy sellers if they want to really go after this and they want to go deeper with you specifically?
For sure. So I have a free PR workshop and you should be able to get featured just doing that. And it's my masterclass. So it's Gloria Chow, PR.com/masterclass. That's Gloria CHOU, PR.com/masterclass. I'm also on Instagram. I'm very open. My DMs are always open. So if you DM me the word Lizzie, I will give you a prompt guide for Perplexity that'll get your first pitch out in less than 5 minutes.
A prompt guide for Perplexity?
Yep. What to put into Perplexity so that it can spit out your pitch.
Okay. So the guys, it's LIZZIE. I don't know if she'll have it in as a Y. So make sure you've got it as IE to get the prompts for. That's crazy. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm not using ManyChat, so I'm going to be looking at it regardless if they use a Y or an IE. But they should know
that's so cool. Okay. Amazing. I mean, I don't know how you are literally Wonder Woman. I don't know how you do it. Okay. And where are the best places to follow you, like find and connect?
Yeah. So Instagram at Gloria Chow PR. That's Gloria CHOU PR. You have the masterclass. And then again, we can start a conversation, but sign up for the masterclass and then DM me the word Lizzie. And then, that'll be more than what you need to get started to feel really empowered.
You're a wonderful human for dealing with all of those DMs. Thank you so much. This is like, Gloria, I feel like there's so many more conversations that we need to have in the future. This is getting really interesting. And I'm, like you said, I'm really starting to see the intersection of how this could we could really help a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why I say your vibe attracts your tribe. And I so appreciate what you're doing because you just are so like, you can tell that you do this because you really care about Etsy sellers and kind of what they're trying to do. And I think there's a lot of other online businesses that kind of just run it like a factory. And we're not doing that. I think what we're embracing is true presence and true abundance. And that's why we're here on the show together. So thank you for having me.
Well, if I am attracting you and people like you, then I'm doing something right. And I'm going to double down on that. So thank you so much, Gloria. You are so generous. You are so wise. You are on fire. I never got to ask you, how was your live event?
Oh, my retreat. It was so good. It was small. It was intentional. It was deep. and spacious in all the ways. It's funny, every year I have a word for that year. And this year my word is freedom, which is very fitting because like nothing seems to work the way it did. And so one of the things I wanted to do was an in-person thing, but there's a lot of like, you should do it this way, or this is how retreats are usually run. And I was like, kind of want to just do my own thing. And so on every level, I didn't follow what other people were doing for retreats. And I just kind of created my own container. We had a sacred cacao ceremony. We had a shrine, an altar for our ancestors. We wrote letters to our old selves. I had a chef here making a Michelin level meal for us on our terrace. We did a Soho photo shoot. So it was very Gloria, right? It was like empowering, but then also like inward. So it was exactly the freedom that I gave myself to do the event in my way. It was awesome. Thank you for asking. But it's also a lot of energy. So I don't think I'll be doing them too often.
No, especially if you like customize everything, you poured your entire life force into that. But it's so fun to see that you're doing things like that. And I love watching from the side on your Instagram what's happening. So we'll have to down the road make sure we cast vision and let people know when you're doing more of that kind of thing, because it's so unique. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for literally just like breaking generational everything. I think that you're really powerful. I think that you're really beautiful. And I think that I've never met anyone like you before. You're very precious, Gloria. So thanks for sharing everything with us.
Thank you, Lizzie.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Get on this. Like, seriously, the time is now. Don't wait. Until next week, go make something awesome. I love you so much, guys. Take care. Sorry, my brain's firing so many different ways. Next week, y'all.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.